Alright guys, hello, welcome back to the second section of the B tier Pokemon for the Battle Frontier. So last time we finished off with Aerodactyl. Now let's talk about Articuno. So this is another one of the legendary birds from Gen 1. Articuno has, obviously it being a legendary really carries it. But its typing and ice and flying is just not good. 4 times weak to rock, it's weak to steel, it's weak to fire, it's weak to electric. So the other problem I have with Articuno is that it doesn't get that good of a move pool. And so, but you know, like I said, it has really good stats since it is a legendary. And pressure is obviously a great ability. So I EV trained this one in defense. Special defense and a little bit in special attack, but here's the set I gave it. I feel like Ice Beam is a no-brainer, but then you also get Mind Reader, Sheer Cold, and Water Pulse. So what Mind Reader does is it makes sure the next move you use hits. So when you use that along with Sheer Cold, that's an easy one-hit KO. Think about how good that's going to be on like the double team spammers and stuff like that. Just immediately take them out, or Pokemon that have like really high defenses, and they're like set up really good. That's gonna take them out. The only problem with this is that Articuno is not that fast, and again, its typing might cause it to get like one shot. But that's why I raised its defense, so that it'll be able to take hits better. And then Water Pulse is the best like other move it can use. You can also give it like a hidden power attack. But Water Pulse being able to possibly confuse is pretty good, so there's that. And I would probably give it maybe Never Melt Ice or Leftovers would work. Moltres, the other one, more or less the same with Articuno, the same problems, but Moltres I took a more offensive approach and gave it a timid nature. That's what I would recommend to get that speed over 300, and then it has really high special attack, as you can see. And here's the set I gave it: Sunny Day, Flamethrower, Hidden Power, and Substitute. Now the Hidden Power, you can't see what it is here, but the one I gave it is, I believe, Grass. I think I gave it Hidden Power Grass. And that along with Sunny Day is going to be real well for water types. And then with Substitute will allow you to set up like, the different Sunny Days. You can go with Overheat or Fire Blast as well. But yeah, he doesn't get that many moves. Just, yeah. Meganium. So Meganium is kind of in the same boat as like a lot of other grass types, in that she just doesn't have that many moves available. So this Meganium is a defensive type. Physical defense is even better to deal with flying and bug types, poison type. But it has okay attack and pretty good special attack, and I gave it good HP too. Overgrow is an alright move. I don't even know. Oh wait, I did give it a grass move. So here's the moveset I recommend for it. Double Screens. This is called Dual Screens, is when you give it Reflect and Light Screen. Which both these moves, they Reflect weakens physical attacks for a certain amount of turns, and Light Screen does the same but for special attacks. And then it can learn Earthquake, and then I gave it Giga Drain for stab move. Some other moves you can give it like Toxic. You can give it can actually learn Swords Dance too, I believe, but I wouldn't really recommend that. You can give it like a Toxic Leech Seed set with 2 other moves. But yeah, there aren't that many options for Meganium, but this is a pretty solid set if you want. And you can use like a PP up to up the PP for Giga Drain. Typhlosion. Alright, so Typhlosion is a really good midst attacker. I wanted to boost his speed because he's not too fast, but a lot of fire types in this game are like midst attackers, and Typhlosion's one of them. So if you want to just have like kind of a Pokemon that can have a lot of like coverage, then Typhlosion's your guy. So I gave him really high speed, and his attack and special attack are pretty good. They're not the best, honestly, so I would give him an item like maybe Choice Band or Charcoal to boost those attacks. And here's the attacks I gave him. I gave him Fire Blast over Flamethrower, You can also give him like Overheat if you want to attach like a White Herb to him. I give him Earthquake, Rock Slide, and Thunder Punch. He can learn Thunder Punch through Egg Move or through Move Tutor. And that'll cover the water types. Now, let's see. Some other moves he can learn. I think he can learn Brick Break. Yeah, he can learn Brick Break. I think he can learn Swords Dance. I'm not totally sure. So if you want to like add those on, that's fine. And then give him more of a physical set, that's good. And then you can give him like 3 physical moves along with Fire Blast. And even if he has like low special attack, Fire Blast will still do quite a bit, because you want to have at least like 1 stat move on him. For Alligator, so this is my favorite of the Gen 2 starters. For Alligator was a tough one to figure out a good moveset with him. He has Torrent, and he's a pretty bulky Pokemon. But the thing about for Alligator is his space special attack is 79. It's pretty subpar. So the thing is, you want him to be mainly like a physical attacker, but he doesn't get a whole bunch of physical attacks, like great physical attacks, like of course until later gens. Another problem with him is that he can't learn Dragon Dance yet. It isn't until I think maybe Gen 4 or whatever that he can actually learn Dragon Dance through Egg Move, but in this generation he can't. So I gave him high attack, high speed, so he's pretty bulky. He can definitely take hits with that good HP too. And so here's the moveset I gave him: Hydro Pump, Earthquake, Rock Slide, and Swords Dance. So if anything, it's pretty similar to Typhlosion's if you replace Swords Dance with another coverage move. But some other move options for him would be like Crunch, Brick Break, what's the other one I'm thinking about? Aerial Ace maybe. I feel like Hydro Pump is even better for Alligator than Surf is for extra power. So I actually really like this set, Earthquake to cover the electric types. Yeah. Ampharos. Alright, so Ampharos is one of my favorite electric type Pokemon because it has a great move pool. And so here I gave Ampharos a Modest nature. I think Modest would be great for it. And now the thing that makes Ampharos unique among the electric types is it's actually pretty good defensively. Now it probably still gets one shot by an Earthquake, but it can take other hits. It's slow. Ampharos is not a fast Pokemon, but it has like I said before, it has a great move pool and has high special attack. So here's what I gave it: Thunderbolt, Fire Punch, Seismic Toss, and Reflect. Now over Seismic Toss, you can give it Focus Punch. It can learn Focus Punch. I think it can also learn Brick Break. I don't know if it can learn Light Screen, but I know it can learn Reflect. It can learn Cross Chop. You can go with like a Rain Dance Thunder set, but I feel like something along these lines is best for Ampharos. Just give it like 2 or 3 attacks, and then like Reflect along with it, and you'll be fine. So yeah. I can't really, if you want to make it like more of a physical defensive wall, that's fine, but like I said, it's still going to get destroyed by Earthquakes. So if you want to make it more of a special wall, then that works too. Espeon. So thing about Espeon that puts in the B tier is that it's such a great lead. Espeon is so good at just coming in and easily one-shotting a lot of different Pokemon. The problem is for most of the evolutions in Gen 3 is that it just doesn't have that good of a move pool other than its stat moves. But it does get synchronized, which is a really good ability. So if you want to give it synchronized along with the Lumberry, that works really well. I recommend a Modest nature because look how high its special attack can get to, and it's already really fast. Here's his moveset. Calm Mind, Red. I mean, this is pretty straightforward. I can't really think of any other moveset I would give it. You can maybe give it Rest. I mean, not Rest. I did give it Rest. You can maybe give it Wish, is what I meant to say. Like a Wish, Protect, Toxic, and then the stat move. But I feel like this is best. You want to use advantage of Calm Mind and then just go ahead and start sweeping. other Pokemon with Espeon. So it's just real fast. If you want to give it like a timid nature, that's fine too. But it's fast and it's a great sweeper, so that's what makes it a good lead for your team. Speaking of evolutions, here's the last one in the B tier is Umbreon. So Umbreon is so good because one, because its design is just awesome, but two, because it's so good defensively. Umbreon is one of the best defensive Pokemon in the game with high defenses, but it has low attacks and low speed. But that's fine. You can take a lot of advantage with an Umbreon to beat the Battle Frontier in some of the facilities. This is the set I recommend giving it: Toxic, Wish, Shadow Ball, Protect. Now if you want to run like knockoff, that's okay, but knockoff in this generation is only 20 base power. It doesn't get 60 base power until later. You can also give it maybe Feint Attack if you want, or I think it can learn Crunch. Excuse me. Actually, now that I think about it, I don't know if Umbreon can learn Crunch, but I think along the lines of this, you definitely want to give Umbreon like Wish and Toxic. Another great move to give Umbreon is Curse to boost its attacks, or boost its physical attack and its defense, and just make it a complete wall, and then give it like 2 or 3 attacking moves. So that's really good too. But Umbreon is so fun to use because there's different movesets you can use with it. And the item I highly recommend, Leftovers. Steelits. Alright, so Steelits is similar to like like the Rhydons, the Golems, those other ground types. So not much to say honestly, because we went over Pokemon similar to him. But again, I gave him the special defense EV spread, so that he doesn't get destroyed by flamethrowers and surfs, because his defense is already incredibly high. And then I gave him some attack as well. And then this is the moveset I gave him. You can maybe give him like Rest or Roar, but this is typically the set you're gonna give him. You can also give him like a Hidden Power Steel type move, because he doesn't learn like Metal Claw or Meteor Mash, which Metal Claw isn't even that good. It's not even like a good move. So if you do want a stat Steel move, you can go with Hidden Power Steel. But yeah, this is pretty good. Ursa Ring. So Ursa Ring is like the slower but more powerful version of Kangaskhan, and he gets an even better ability in Guts. Guts is a great ability with an adamant nature. Ursa Ring gets a really high attack. Now the only thing about Ursa Ring is 1, his move pool, and 2, outside of his attack and HP, his stats are pretty bad. But he can make for a good setup attacker, and so this is what I gave him. Another problem I have with Ursa Ring is that he can't use Shadow Ball for coverage. But if you want to give him like Aerial Ace or Earthquake, excuse me. And he can also learn Swords Dance, so he packs a punch. Like whenever he hits, it's gonna be strong. Some people give him like a counter. They give him counter. The only thing about that is that, again, his physical defense is pretty bad, so you have to raise that, and like if he gets hit by like a brick break, he might die. But yeah, like bulk up along with counter or whatever, like that's pretty good. But I like this set that I give him here. Kingdra. So Kingdra is a great water type because he has a really good typing, Water and Dragon. So he only has 1 weakness total. At least in this generation, only 1 weakness. And he has Swift Sword, which is a pretty solid ability. Now, I gave him a timid nature, and he has great all-around stats, as you can see. He has good defenses. It's dang near impossible to like one-shot a Kingdra. But with high speed and high special attack, I wish his special attack could get higher. But this is the moveset I gave him: Surf, Ice Beam, and then I gave him Hidden Power Dragon. So that sounds strange, but the best dragon move that Kingdra can learn is Dragon Breath, which is only 60 power and 30% chance to paralyze. Which isn't horrible, but if you want that, excuse me, if you want that extra power you can give him a hidden power dragon for stab. And then rest, if you give him rest with like either Chesto Berry or Lumberry, then that works just fine too. But Kingdra is just a good fun water type to use on your team. And yeah. Dawnfinn, so Dawnfinn, again, I mean, we've went over a lot of ground types. It's pretty much the same deal with Dawnfinn. High defense, high attack, high HP, the rest are pretty low. But I gave him special defense EVs again, so he can take water, ice, and grass hits. And then here's the moves that I gave him. Of course, Earthquake, Rock Slide, Double Edge are pretty obvious. And then I gave him Fissure for fun. He can learn Fissure. So if you want to attach a Quick Claw to him and try to go for Fissures, that works too, because that's fun to use. Smeargle. Okay, so Smeargle, if you don't know about Smeargle, there's only one move that Smeargle's able to learn, and that's Sketch. Now what Sketch does, okay, well he doesn't have there, but what Sketch does is basically, it copies a move that an opponent or teammate Pokemon used, and it adds it to his moveset. So if you're in a double battle, and one of your Pokemon uses Ice Beam, and then on the next turn you use Sketch with Smeargle on the Pokemon that just used Ice Beam, he now has Ice Beam in his moveset. And so with that Sketch, you can get any, and I mean any move onto a Smeargle. So there's so many opportunities with him. Only thing is he has really low stats pretty much. So you don't really want to give him like physical attacks or special attacks. You want to give him like other ones, like maybe one hit KO attacks. That's what some people do. They'll give him like Lock On with like Sheer Cold, Fissure, and Horn Drill, you know, something like that. And the good thing about him is his HP is pretty solid and he has good speed, but yeah, it isn't until later gens that he's that good. So here's a recommended set from Smogon. Ingrain, so that he can you know, restore HP. You can use Spore to put the opponent to sleep, and then Baton Pass. So when you use Baton Pass after an Ingrain, the Pokemon you Baton Pass to will have Ingrain already. So you can basically just be recovering health each turn off of Baton Pass. And if you Baton Pass onto a Pokemon with leftovers, you're going to be recovering a lot of health. So he's fun to use if you want to try him out. Miltank. Okay, so Miltank is an interesting Pokemon. First of all, it has a really cool ability in Thick Fat. Heat and Cold Protection, which lowers the power of ice and fire moves against it. I don't know if this moveset I gave him here is the best, but it's one of the recommended ones, I'll put like that. I gave him Adamant Nature, and then I gave him High Speed. Now, the thing about Miltank is he's bulky, or she's bulky, I should say. Miltank is a bulky Pokemon, but the reason why its defenses look low is because, you know, I didn't train him up. But she's more of a physical attacker. So one thing about Miltank that's really good is that she can use Milk Drink, which is her signature move, which is like Recover basically, but for Miltank. You can give it Shadow Ball, Thunder Wave, Focus Punch. You can give it Earthquake, Body Slam, Curse. You can, you know, like there's quite a few moves you can give to a Miltank. And the thing also about Miltank that's great is that it's fast. Miltank is fast too, so you can do quite a bit of damage with Miltank. But I went with Thunder Wave and Focus Punch so that there's a chance the opponent may not be able to attack, so you can hit them with a really strong Focus Punch, Shadow Ball for coverage, and then Milk Drink. So yeah. Entei. Okay, so Entei is he's alright. He's not as good as the other two legendary dogs, but I gave him Modest Nature, so he gets high speed, high special attack. And here's a set I recommend for him. He's one of the few fire types that actually can learn Solar Beam in this gen, and so I went with Sunny Day, Calm Mind, and then Flamethrower and Solar Beam. Solar Beam obviously for water types, and yeah, so he's better as a special attacker, of course. But you can also go with like a Calm Mind substitute set as well. I think he can learn Crunch. I might be wrong. I think he might be able to learn Crunch. But yeah, you definitely want to give him Calm Mind though. And of course a fire attacking move. But yeah, Entei, I guess Entei isn't too bad if you give him a set like this, so yeah. Shift 3, alright, so Shift 3 is a cool Grass and Dark type Pokemon who I really like because he's just cool. I gave him a Jolly Nature, and Shift 3 is a very offensive Pokemon, so if you're looking for, you know, just a great like physical attacker, then Shift 3's there for you. He also has solid special attack too, so if you want to give him like those stab, grass, and dark moves, which are on the special side, then you can. But that's the problem, his attack is higher, which kind of sucks because you can't take advantage of the stabs as well as you want to. But I gave him Jolly Nature with all the speed and attack I could give him. And as you can see, his speed still isn't as high as I wish it was. But his attack isn't too bad. And here's his moveset: Sword Stance, Shadow Ball, Brick Break, and Explosion. Now, this is the moveset I personally prefer for him. But if you want like something like Giga Drain, Crunch, and Extra Sensory, he can learn Extra Sensory, which is an 80 base move, 80 power base move with 100 accuracy. He can learn that through through Egg move. And then like the other move could be like Explosion, or I don't know, one of the physical attacking moves. So you can make him like a mixed attacker, physical or special attacker. But just make him like a fast sweeper, and you'll be fine. So Shift 3 is just fun to you because he has a great move pool. Shadinja, okay, so Shadinja is a very unique Pokemon for one reason only. Actually, two reasons. One, Shadinja has a unique ability called Wonder Guard, in which the only way you can do damage to him through attacking moves is if it's super effective. If it's not super effective, it will not affect him. Now, with that being said, you can still Toxic or burn him, and then it'll kill him immediately afterwards. And the reason I say it'll kill him immediately afterwards is because he only has 1 HP. No matter how much you level him up, his HP stays at 1. So Shadinja will die after like any burn or any poison, which sucks. So I would highly recommend giving him a Lumberry to heal that. And he has great attack, but everything else is pretty bad. That's the problem with him. But him having Wonder Guard can really save you in certain situations. So I would give him attack and speed. And then here's the moveset I would give him: Sword Stance, Shadow Ball, Aerial Ace, and Substitute. So yeah, just make him a physical attacker. I think you can give him Baton Pass, but he learns it in his previous evolutions. So if you want to go like a Sword Stance Baton Pass set, that's fine too. But yeah, this is one that I would like to give him. Agron. Alright, so Agron is very similar to a lot of ground type Pokemon, except he's not a ground type. He's still in rock. And the first thing you're thinking is, oh, that's going to get one shot by fighting type moves and ground type moves. Pretty much. But the good thing is Agron has really high defense naturally. And great attack too. And he has Sturdy, which is a great ability. So this one, I gave him like a Adamant Nature. You can raise his special defense too, but here's his moveset. As you can tell, it's very similar to the other ground type walls and stuff. Instead, I just gave him Focus Punch, just to change things up a little bit. But yeah, if you're gonna use Agron, just make sure you have 2 other Pokemon who can cover around like fighting types, ground types, and water types, because they're going to be out for blood against him. So be careful with that. Alright, Monetric. So Monetric is another electric type who's similar to Jolteon, very similar to Jolteon, but he is probably a little bit better, to be honest. Well, they're around the same, honestly. Monetric has higher attack, actually. I just gave him Jolly Wait. Oh my god, I gave him Jolly Nature. I meant to give him Timid. That's why his special attack looked so low. I meant to give him Timid Nature. My bad. But yeah, so his special attack's supposed to be higher than that. But here's the set I gave him. Thunderbolt and Jolteon can only learn Bite, but Monetric can learn Crunch, which is better. Higher power and can lower Spadef. And then Hidden Power Grass. And then the other move you can give him, I would recommend Roar. You can also give him Quick Attack, and you can give him Iron Tail. He can learn Iron Tail too. Or you can give him Shockwave, which is a move that doesn't miss. It's not the highest of powers, but it doesn't miss, so you can deal with double team spammers with that. Alright, Sharpedo. So Sharpedo, I really like Sharpedo because he's cool, really cool. But unfortunately, like, him being a water and dark type isn't too good because the thing is, he has really high attack. His special attack is good. His special attack is 90, so it's still real good. But you want to take advantage of his high attack. And the problem with that is that you also want to take advantage of his speed. So you're going to want Sharpedo to be like a mixed attacker on here. So that's what I went for him. Hydro Pump, Double Edge, Earthquake, and Crunch is what I gave him. This is not Gen 4 where he can learn more of like the physical, just have all like physical moves. So this is the set I gave him. You may be wondering why I didn't give him Ice Beam. Yeah, I could have given him Ice Beam to deal with grass types, but grass types aren't like a huge threat in this game to begin with. So you can just take him out with like a Crunch or Double Edge. And him having Rough Skin as an ability is pretty good because he has low, like really low defenses. So at least Rough Skin will do something to those who hit him. But yeah, I went with Hydro Pump for extra power and then 2 physical moves along with Crunch for stat. Grumpig. Alright, so Grumpig is very underrated Pokemon that I don't see people talk about that much. I gave it Thick Fat. It can have Thick Fat, and I gave it a Bold Nature because I want Grumpig to be a more defensive type Pokemon. So Grumpig has a great move pool, but I'm like, let's make it a defensive pig. So I gave it HP. I think I gave it some in Spadef and some in defense, mainly in defense. But here's the moves that I gave it. Calm Mind with 2 elemental punches and a stat move. I think this will be able to take out quite a few teams just by setting up. And even though I didn't raise its speed, like its base speed, even though I didn't give him EVs in speed, his base speed is still 80. So if you want to be like an offensive sweeper, you could go for that. But I think he's better as like a setup like defensive mon. He can learn Thunder Punch too. You can give him like Reflect and whatnot. But I really like this set for Grumpig, and I actually want to use Grumpig on one of my teams. So I'll keep you tracked on that. I guess that's the word to use. Whatever. Flygon. Alright, so Flygon is Garchomp before Garchomp, as everyone knows. But Flygon is still really good in this generation. Ground and Dragon is a pretty cool typing. And he has a Levitate, which is really nice. I gave him Jolly Nature because I wanted my Flygon to be a physical attacker. Now, the thing about him being a physical attacker is that he can't take advantage now of Dragon Claw, which would be a stat move. But I still gave him Earthquake, Rock Slide, Fire Blast, and Aerial Ace. Now, Flygon can learn quite a few moves. He can also learn Giga Drain, obviously Dragon Claw. He can learn Iron Tail. He can learn, I think he can learn Swords Dance, I might be wrong. But I know he can learn Solar Beam and Crunch. So there's quite a few options you can give to a Flygon if you want him to be a mixed attacker, physical attacker, or special attacker. But I think physical attack would probably be best for him. And you really want to boost his speed to be able to outspeed like other dragon types and stuff. But Flygon's a great Pokemon to use, and I really like him. Altaria. So Altaria, another dragon type Pokemon that's really good defensively. Altaria is a defensive dragon type. She has like 100 something in both defenses, great HP, And both of her attacks are only 70, and she's not the fastest. I think her speed is 70, so it's not too bad. But I made Altaria a defensive mon, as you can see, with HP, defense, and special attack, EVs. I got her special attack to be a little bit over 200, so that it'll actually do something. But here's the moveset I gave her. This was tough trying to figure out like what's the best moveset for Altaria. So here's what I went with: Flamethrower, Dragon Claw, Haze, and Toxic. Flamethrower for coverage against ice types. Dragon Claw for stab, because that's the best dragon move she can learn, I think. Can she learn Outrage? I don't know. Haze is a really good move. We talked about Haze on the other Pokemon, I can't remember who. And it has high PP as well. And then Toxic for stalling. Now, if you want her to get like Dragon Dance with 3 physical moves, that works. If you want to give her like Double Team with like Fly, you know, just things like that, like she can learn quite a few moves. She can be more of a physical attacker or a special attacker, but I want to take advantage of her like more defensive side. If you're running like a defensive Battle Frontier squad, then she would be a great dragon type to add to your team. Dilly. Dilly's like the top 5 hardest Pokemon in Gen 1 through 3 to figure out a moveset for, because he just has like so many, let's see. Let me see. Dilly has so many movesets he can use. So first off, let's talk about his typing in Rock and Grass. Rock and Grass is such a good typing that no one really talks about. Because grass types are weak to ice, they're weak to fire, and they're weak to bug. Rock types cover all 3 of those. So now it's just weak to fighting, ice, and flying. I forgot to mention rock type covers that flying weakness too. Now Dilly is still weak to fighting types, steel types, ice types, but you're not going to worry as much about ice types, even though it's still super effective on it. But like, first of all, that's what I want to mention, is its great ability. Then it has Suction Cups, which basically Suction Cups make it to where the opponent cannot switch out. It's basically like Arena Trap. And then Impish Nature, to boost its, boost its defense and lower its special attack, I believe is what I gave it, because I went for a more physical side. And here's the EV spread. So I went with HP. I did summon attack, summon defense, and summon special defense. Dilly naturally has high defenses and HP, but it has really low speed, and its attack and special attack are like doable. Like you can still like hit with those moves, but the hard part about training a Dilly is figuring out the moveset. So here's the moveset I gave it. I don't even know if I'll agree with it today. I'll probably disagree with it tomorrow. Like, it's so hard figuring out the best moveset for a Dilly. But here's the moveset I gave it. Mirror Coat, because it has great special defense, and I love Mirror Coat as a move. Rock Slide, to just have one attacking move on stab. Recover, because Dilly can learn Recover, and it's a great move to give it. And then Toxic. Now, with Toxic, you can give it Sludge Bomb instead, and you can actually make Dilly like a physical attacker with like Rock Slide. I think it can learn Earthquake, Sludge Bomb, and then some other move. You can make it more of a special attacker with Giga Drain, and well, actually, I can't think of many like special attacking moves it can learn. But yeah, I think the best option is to make it like just like an all-around Pokemon. A lot of people like making it like a staller, so you can give it like Amnesia, which sharply raises its special defense, and then Barrier, which sharply raises its physical defense, and then give it like Toxic and Rest, and just make it stall out the other team a lot, which would be fun to do. You can make it a Barrier plus Mirror Coat set. You can give it one of the hidden power moves. What are some other moves? It can learn Confuse Ray. I think, let's see. Let me see. Let's see, it can learn, yeah, Confuse Ray. Yeah, I pretty much covered the moveset, the moves you would give it, so yeah. And let's see, anyone else? Yes, Armando. Okay, so Armando is the other fossil from Gen 3. Rock and Bug type now, which is another pretty good typing. It's not as good as Dilly's, but it's still good. He has Battle Armor, which is a great ability because you're going to be hit by so many criticals in Battle Frontier. So that's going to block those critical hits, and I gave him Adamant Nature because I wanted him to be like a physical attacker, but you can make him more of like just a defensive, all-around defensive mon. And I gave him these moves. Sword Stance with 3 physical attacks. He can also learn Iron Tail, which would be great. What other move can you can give him? Of course, Toxic. Like every Pokemon can learn Toxic, but like that's a good move to give him. Of course, him being a Bug type, there aren't really any good Bug moves to give him because Bug types don't get a lot of love in this generation. But yeah, you can give him Aerial Ace as well. So let's see. Dustclouds. Okay, so Dustclouds is a very interesting Pokemon because he is a tank. Dustclouds is a tank, and he's known for being a staller. He's like a staller troll type Pokemon. So if you want a great defensive mon, that's what he's here for. The only thing about Dustclouds is he has low HP, so if you're going to train him up, give him high HP, give him those HP EVs, and then you can train whatever in the rest of his stats, except for speed. Don't train his speed, because he's already extremely slow. I gave him really high defenses. Now he's going to be able to take hits like a charm. And here's the moveset I gave him. Will-O-Wisp, Pain Split, Shadow Punch, and Curse. Of course, you can also give him like Shadow Ball. He can learn quite a few moves. He can learn Earthquake, Ice Beam. He can learn, I think, Brick Break, Destiny Bond. He can learn a lot of, I think, Thunderbolt too. You might be able to learn Thunderbolt. There's a lot, but this moveset, like with Shadow Punch, the reason I gave it Shadow Punch over Shadow Ball is because it doesn't miss, and you know how much I love like not missing moves. So Will-O-Wisp is going to be really good. It's going to come in handy. That's a move. That's probably the most important move to give him. You can also go with Calm Mind. He can learn Calm Mind. So if you want to do that, make him real bulky, similar to Grumpig, and then give him like 3 special attacks. That'll be fun. But yeah, Dustclouds, he's really fun to use. And then he has Pressure. That's why he's such a good staller, because he has the ability Pressure. And then, if you don't want to give him Will-O-Wisp, you can give him Toxic. Toxic, Pressure, Protect, Double Team. That crap is annoying. But if you want to go for it, then feel free to. Absol. Okay, you guys know how much I love Absol. It's one of my favorite Pokemon. Another ability with Pressure. So Absol is an interesting mon because although it's a Dark type, it doesn't have good special attacks, so it's a physical attacker. The only other problem with Absol is that it has pretty low speed, but she has really high attack too. And I just love using her moveset with Shadow Ball, Aerial Ace, Brick Break, and Double Edge. I would recommend giving her like a Choice Band. And she can also learn Sword Stance. And let's see. Yeah, Sword Stance. And of course, over Double Edge, you can give like Return or whatever. But this is typically what you're gonna, the moveset you're gonna be giving Absol. She's just a physical sweeper Pokemon. Glaly. So Glaly, this is the Pokemon I was talking about that you can get in the Shoal Cave. Just a regular Ice type. Whenever I first saw it, I thought it was Ice and Dark type, but no, it's just Ice. It has Inner Focus, which is great for like fake out users. And then I gave it a Timid nature. But the thing about Glaly is that all of its stats pretty much are base 80. I think except for HP. I think its HP is like 100. Let me see. No, every stat of Glaly's is base 80. So, yeah. So Glaly rhymes with 80. That's a great way to remember. So here's the spread I gave it. Speed and special attack. The reason I did that is because Glaly is a really good lead Pokemon. Because it has access to Earthquake, Spikes, and Explosion. And then obviously it has Ice Beam and Crunch. If you want to make it more physical attacker, I guess that's fine with like Explosion, Earthquake, and maybe like Blizzard or something. But I would recommend more on the special side. And I wouldn't like go as far as making it like a defensive wall, because ice types are really not meant to be defensive Pokemon because they have so many weaknesses. So I will make it like fast and make it like a great lead for your team. And let's see, let's go on to the next part. So here's the last 3 Pokemon and that are going to be in this video. So we have Walrus. So Walrus is another Pokemon with thick fat, and Walrus is a beast, man. Walrus is so good. Ice and water type Pokemon with high defenses, great all around stats, except for its speed. That's the only thing, but it has really high HP because it's so big. And then it has, like I mentioned, it has thick fat. I gave it a bold nature, and so it'll be able to take hits. It'll be able to take a Thunderbolt or Giga Drain or Brick Break. And I gave it some in special attack because this is the set I gave it: Rest, Surf, Ice Beam, and Toxic. Now, think about Whirlwind. It can also learn Earthquake. It can learn Curse. It can learn. You can give it like Sheer Cold, and I think it can learn Horn Drill as well. I might be wrong, but I think Walrus can learn Horn Drill. With like a Rest and Sleep Talk set. So Walrus is really fun to use. It's actually one of the Pokemon I used when I first beat Pokemon Ruby. So I kind of have that attachment to it. But yeah, Walrus is really good. Maybe you can give it like a Quick Claw with Sheer Cold. Reggie Still. Alright, so Reggie Still is a... Oh my god, I forgot to level it up. Reggie Still is a very, very bulky Pokemon. It's one of the best Steel types. But the problem with it being a Steel type is that it doesn't really get any good Steel moves. The best Steel move that Reggie Still gets is Metal Claw, which is only base 50. But both of its defenses are at 150. Its attacks are 75 and its HP is 80. So I gave it an Adamant Nature to boost its attack. And here's the moveset I gave it. I gave it Hidden Power Steel because that's going to be the best steel you can give it if you get it like enough power. Super Power, which is a really strong fighting move, but it lowers your I think it lowers your attack and defense. Yeah. So to cover that, I gave it Curse to boost its 2 or 3 physical moves, and then of course Earthquake. You can also give it like Amnesia or Toxic and Explosion. But yeah. And one last Pokemon. I added Houndoom because I forgot to add Houndoom earlier in the B tier. He was supposed to be on the last video, but I accidentally skipped over him. I haven't forgotten about Houndoom. He is an awesome Pokemon that I enjoy using. A lot of Dark type Pokemon are just really cool. But I gave him Timid Nature because I feel like he's better as a special attacker. But he has that access to Shadow Ball and Sludge Bomb if you want to use that. He gets Early Bird, which is pretty good. It comes in handy for like Sleep Powder and Hypnosis users. So like a lot of Fire type Pokemon, I made him a mixed attacker. Okay, never mind, I didn't. But I gave him 3 special attacking moves along with Sunny Day to activate Solar Beam faster and to boost Flamethrowers power. He can also learn whatchamacallit. He can learn Counter, but I wouldn't give him that really. Again, he can learn Shadow Ball and Sludge Bomb, and yeah, but I would make him like a mixed attacker or just a straight special attacker. And he's one of the few fire types that can actually learn Solar Beam that's not a legendary, so that's really cool too. So that, my friends, will cover all of the B tier Pokemon, and that's going to be the last of me showing off like all the best Pokemon to use for the Battle Frontier. I put a lot of time into recording this and stuff, but these are, again, meant to help you in your Battle Frontier journey. I'm about to go and try and get these gold symbols. It's going to be fun. It's going to be annoying. It's going to be frustrating. But it will be rewarding. I guarantee you that. So hopefully we get that satisfaction with those 7 gold symbols. And I'll figure out what teams I'm going to use for each facility and each symbol. See y'all later.